Hi, it's Chrissy from firstdayofhome.com, and I am all about Dollar Tree ornaments this week. I'm joining several other YouTubers, so I hope you'll pay a visit to my friends as well. I'm gonna put their links in the description box below, but we're gonna have some fun. I've got everything from classic style ornaments like this one to a little more quirky things that you may love or hate. We're gonna find out, but I hope you'll stick around through to the end. I've got 5 different ornaments to try, and I know my friends are gonna have a lot of other cool inspiration for you this week. So before we get too far, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and then ring the bell for more DIY projects, crafts, and easy recipes. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to use a clear ornament for this first craft along with these cute little napkins. I'll be using some chalk paint to coat the inside of the ornament, and this will really give full coverage to be able to see the napkin on the outside. Now, I didn't get these napkins at the dollar store, but they have a lot of good Christmas napkins to choose from, so I'm sure you'll be able to find something else there. The chalk paint is really thick, so sometimes it doesn't really roll around in the ornament very well, so I used just a little brush to kind of smooth it around and make sure that I didn't miss any spots. You can set the ornament down upside down in a plastic cup to let the paint dry before applying your napkin to the outside with decoupage. Now, when we get ready to apply a napkin with Mod Podge, you want to separate out all of the plies. Usually there are about 3 plies to a napkin, so you have to be really sure that you're getting all of the layers isolated. This last layer is a little bit difficult to pull apart, so you may have to work at it a little bit. Once you have your layers separated, you're going to go ahead and cut around one of the squares of your pattern, depending on what kind of pattern you have. And you'll want to get as close to the pattern as you can. Just leave a little bit of space so that you can get rid of the extra white space around your design. I think this design is going to look so pretty on this white light bulb ornament. Using a paintbrush and just a little bit of water, I'm going to try to trim away some of the extra space around this Christmas tree so that really I have as much of the tree showing and as little of the white space as possible. Today we're going to be using decoupage on this plastic ornament, but I've done a ton of other projects on wood and other materials on my blog and here on YouTube if you'd like to check those out. Basically, you start by using a little bit of Mod Podge on the object that you're trying to decoupage. In this case, it's our little light bulb ornament. And then you're going to gently apply the tissue paper or the napkin directly onto the light bulb, but you don't want to use your hands when smoothing it out because you run the risk that your hands become sticky and then the paper rips. So I just like to use regular food wrap and just place it over my design so that I can adjust things and smooth things out more easily without the paper ripping. After you've finished smoothing out your design, you are ready to peel back the plastic and admire your work. Now, we do need to let this dry about 30 minutes before we move on to the next step, so in the meantime, we'll work on the little screw top. For the little screw top, I decided to add a little bit of farmhouse ribbon just to give it a little extra touch. I used hot glue to do this, but just be warned the metal will heat up as you put the glue on. Before we're done with this ornament, we need to add one more coat of Mod Podge on top. The tree should be completely dry before you do this, but this just helps seal and protect the ornament. It might look a little cloudy at first, but I promise it'll dry clear. As a final step, I like to use this acrylic spray Mod Podge sealer, but it's totally optional. It just gives a little bit of a brighter shine, and I love the way the ornament turned out. Speaking of shine, for the next ornament, we're going to use this special glue and some glitter that I found at Dollar Tree. I'll put a link to this glue in the description box below, but it basically helps the glitter stick to the inside of the ornament, so it's especially made for glitter ornaments. After you're done swirling it around the ornament, you can pour the excess back into the bottle and then start pouring your glitter inside. Now, I found that sprinkling the glitter inside the ornament just wasn't cutting it, so I took the lid off and did the old-fashioned dumping method. This helped to coat the inside of the ornament a lot more quickly, so I highly recommend doing this. You can already see how pretty this is turning out, but we still have a little way to go. By the way, I like to dump out any excess glitter and save it for later because there will be a lot left over. Now you can really see how beautiful this ornament looks. For the top of the ornament, I decided to use a little bit of twine to add some contrast to the glitter. I ended up doing 2 layers just to make sure I fully covered the top. I love the way this turned out. It's like glam meets rustic. Now I ended up doing another glittered ornament earlier, and then I decided it would be cute to add a few little extra floral pieces I had from my last YouTube video. And so I added a few pieces of greenery around the top of the ornament just to make it a little more elegant. Again, all of these pieces came from the Dollar Tree, so you can find some really good stems this year. This Queen Anne's lace looks really pretty, and you'll see how I use it in another ornament in just a minute, but I thought it'd be cute to add a few little berries to this gold glitter ornament as well. I decided to add on this little pine cone, also from a Dollar Tree stem, but I wanted more glitter to coordinate with the ornament itself, so I just used a little bit of Mod Podge and then sprinkled on some glitter on the tips. This turned out to be so beautiful, and I think it would make a great gift for friends or family. I ended up adding this piece of ribbon that I happen to have on hand, and I think it gives just one last special touch to this ornament. For our next ornament set, I used these little containers that are like a bonus ornament because you can place things inside as a sweet treat for someone. I created these little labels using my Cameo, but you can always cut out whatever design you like. I also found these little beads at Dollar Tree that I decided would look cute on one of these tins. To start, you can use glue or tape to stick your label on top of your tin. I decided to use some thick foam tape that's double-sided just to give my design a little more of a 3D effect, and you'll see in a minute how it just adds a little more dimension to these tins. I'm using this glitter cardstock and regular cardstock for these designs, and I just love the contrast between the white and the green, and also the pink and white on the other tin. Doesn't this look so pretty and festive? To make these into ornaments, I'm using that same ribbon from the last ornament and just hot gluing it onto the back of the tin. I did try gluing it on the inside and the tin wouldn't close, so you live and learn. For the second tin, I basically followed the same steps and then decided to add these cute little beads that I found at Dollar Tree using a hot glue gun. Now they do tend to roll around, so just be warned. I also had this washi tape that went perfectly with the color of the beads, so I added that to the bottom of the tin, and I think this would make such a cute ornament filled with candies or other goodies, especially for teens or tweens. For the next ornament, I'm using a foam cone that I found at Dollar Tree, along with this reindeer moss and some Queen Anne's lace. You can use tacky glue and any ribbon of your choice to make this ornament. We're going to start by gluing on the ribbon to have something to hang our ornament by. I also ended up cutting the ornament just a little bit because I wanted something smaller, so it's totally up to you, but if you do cut it, save that extra piece of foam for later. You never know when you might find a good use for it. My tacky glue was not cooperating, so I used this other felt and foam glue instead. You'll want to apply your reindeer moss in pieces. Just start at the top and work your way down until the entire cone is covered. After the entire cone is covered in moss, you can apply a little bit of chalk paint to add a little frosting to your tree. I cut these tiny little berries off the Queen Anne's lace because I thought they would look really sweet placed around the Christmas tree, so I added those with the same foam glue. This ornament turned out a little quirky, but I think it's kind of charming, and you can always take that little piece of foam that we cut off and paint it gray to look like a little Christmas tree color. Speaking of quirky, for the last ornament, I got a little inspiration from the ugly Christmas sweater craze going around. So I got inspired when I was in Dollar Tree and saw these socks. I thought, wouldn't those make the perfect ugly sweater? I also found these pom-poms and little sequins that would work well to embellish the sweater later. I'll be using this jewelry wire that I had on hand just to create a little mini hanger for our sweaters. But you'll start by cutting the toes off the socks, and then also cutting the trim of the socks, which we'll use later. To make the little sleeves of the ornament, you'll want to cut about 1/2 inch or so from the edge of the side. I didn't actually measure it out, so you don't have to be super precise, but do this on both sides. Just make sure to leave some room at the top because you'll need to make the shoulders and neck as well. I didn't have a particular pattern I was using. I just tried to make the shoulders a little bit rounded and cut all the way across. You can always trim it up later and make it cleaner once you're done gluing, so don't get too caught up in trying to make it perfect. You can also trim a little neckline that will end up fixing up later. I decided to make a little mini hanger with this jewelry wire that I mentioned that I had. You can also use pipe cleaner or whatever you like, or you don't absolutely have to make a hanger. I just thought it would add some little extra cuteness. If you did make a hanger, you'll want to put it inside the sweater before you start gluing the edges together. And I'm going to use a hot glue gun for this. I have my little mini glue gun that's a little easier to control for very small projects like this. And I'll start at the shoulders and just work my way down, gluing the edges of the arms and the body of the sweater as well. Now with that piece we cut off the sock, we can make a cute little collar for the sweater. Just measure it out and cut it approximately the size of the neck hole. And I like to cut mine in half so I can just glue the front piece to the back piece. And then with the remaining pieces in a minute, we are going to use those for the little cuffs of the sweater sleeves. For the bottom of the sweater and the sleeves, I just did a single layer of this yellow piece and glued it on in the same way. So you can go ahead and measure it out and use hot glue to close the seam. Go ahead and do the same thing on the sweater sleeves, and you can sometimes sandwich the gray part of the sleeve inside the yellow part depending on how the sock is made or what kind of sock you're using, but just glue it on as best as you can and whatever looks good to you. Once you're done with all your gluing, you can go around trimming up any frayed edges and just clean up the sweater a little bit before we get to the fun part, decorating it. I decided to use these little mini pom-poms that I found at Dollar Tree, as well as some sequins. And you can really use anything that you have on hand. Let your imagination run wild and have fun decorating your ugly Christmas sweater ornament. I've seen these ornaments everywhere from Hobby Lobby and Target to Crate & Barrel, but I just think it's so much more fun to make your own. I decided to use another pair of Dollar Tree socks just to see what another Christmas sweater might look like and to show you guys. So let me know which one is your favorite. I can't decide. Thanks again for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to leave me a comment and let me know which ornament was your favorite. Also, I have my friends' videos listed in the description box below, so be sure to check those out, and I'll see you next time.